Hey there, Scribe, and welcome back to the show. I'm Sarah Williams, your host, book coach, fiction author, and a big believer in messy beginnings, creative bravery, and doing the thing before you feel completely ready. And that's exactly what we're talking about today. Let's be honest. How many of us have waited to start something because we weren't quite ready? We didn't feel good enough. We were scared we'd mess it up. We were worried what people would think. I've been there so many times. In fact, this very podcast, I thought about launching it for over a year before I finally hit record. And you know what finally made me do it? Realizing that I might never feel 100% ready. And if I waited until I did, I might never start at all. Let's talk about that feeling of waiting, of holding back. If you're listening to this podcast, I'm going to guess you're a writer. Maybe you're working on your first novel. Maybe you're halfway through a draft that's feeling messier by the day. Or maybe you've been thinking about starting a book for months or even years. And you keep telling yourself, I just need more time, more experience, a better idea. Then I'll start. But here's the truth. You get better by doing. You become a writer by writing. You become confident by taking the leap, not the other way around. I want to get real with you for a second. I'm an ambitious person. I've built a career around books. I've published multiple novels, run retreats, coached writers, launched festivals. But that doesn't mean I'm fearless. I've had failures, rejections, embarrassing moments I'd rather not relive. I've submitted books to people and never heard back. I've hosted events where no one signed up. I've had typos in published books. I've launched things that flopped. But I've also kept going because those experiences, they weren't the end. They were just the first attempt in learning. Which brings me to one of my favorite little mindset shifts: fail. It's a big, scary word, one we've all been conditioned to avoid. But what if we rewrote it? Fail. First attempt in learning. Your first book draft? Just your first attempt in learning. Your awkward first pitch? A learning moment. That time you told someone about your book and they didn't get it? Still part of your growth. Every failure is feedback. Every step forward, even the wobbly ones, teach you something. And that is so much more powerful than staying frozen in fear, endlessly waiting to feel ready. So let me talk to you, the writer listening to this right now. I know you have an idea you haven't started, or a project you've been quietly working on, unsure if it's any good, or a story in your heart that feels too big, too messy, too risky to put on paper. Maybe you've been thinking, who am I to write this? What if people don't like it? What if I'm not good enough? And friend, I want you to hear this clearly. You are enough right now as you are. You don't need permission. You don't need a perfect plan. You don't need more time. You just need to begin. So, what does that look like? Here are a few ways you can take imperfect but powerful action this week. Write 500 words, even if they're messy and unsure. Tell a friend about your story idea. Just speaking it aloud makes it real. Send your draft or a chapter to an editor for feedback. Join a writing group, even if you feel like the newbie. Start a Substack or a blog and share tiny pieces of your work. Every one of these is a start, a seed, a signal to yourself that says, this matters, I'm doing it, even if it's not perfect yet. This episode is proudly sponsored by the Sunshine Coast Fiction Festival, one of the most exciting new events on the Australian literary calendar, and I'm thrilled to say I'm hosting it. Join myself and over 80 other authors and vendors for a 3-day festival of creative inspiration, community, and conversations at Venue 114 in Book Arena, just minutes from the beach and surrounded by the vibrant writing culture of the Sunshine Coast in Queensland. Whether you're a brand new writer dreaming up your first novel or an established author wanting to connect and learn and celebrate this wild creative life, we've got something for you. And bring all your bookish and reader friends too. The weekend is devoted to bookish fun and your chance to meet and chat with authors of all fiction genres, including romance, science fiction, fantasy, crime, and children's. There'll be workshops, panel discussions, author Q&As, and plenty of time to mingle and network and get inspired. You'll hear from some of the biggest names in fiction, including Stephanie Holmes, who's a USA Today best-selling author of dark, delicious fantasy. A.K. Mulford, a Sunshine Coast local who writes fantasy novels, rom-coms, and she's a BookTok star with a heart for magical stories. Rachel Johns is one of Australia's favourite authors of women's fiction and rural romance. Cadence Snow, she's beloved in the indie romance scene for her gripping and emotional stories. And T.L. Swan, queen of spicy international bestsellers with legions of devoted fans. And Candice Fox, award-winning crime writer and screenwriter whose thrillers you cannot put down. And of course, I'll be there too. Not just as your host, but with my own table at the signing, ready to chat, sign books, and cheer you on wherever you are in your writing journey. This is your chance to meet some of your favourite authors, connect with other passionate readers and writers, and soak up an atmosphere of creative energy that will stay with you long after the day ends. Tickets are already selling fast, and this is a 3-day event. So if you're thinking about coming, don't wait. The Sunshine Coast Fiction Festival is proudly sponsored by Serenade Publishing, the Queensland Writers Centre, the Sunshine Coast Libraries, and Baventi. Head to sunshinecoastfictionfestival.com.au to check out the full program and book your ticket now. I can't wait to see you there. Let me tell you something about my first novel, The Brothers of Brigadier Station. It wasn't perfect, but I wrote it, I published, and it's still paying me the income 7 years later. And since then, I've been able to translate my books into German and Portuguese, produce audiobooks, and even create special editions, all from that one book. So imagine if I had waited. If I'd said, it's not ready, or I'm not ready, I would have missed out on all of that. So please don't rob your future self of that kind of growth. Start where you are with what you have. I'm here to remind you, you're not behind, you're in training. Every word you write builds this muscle. Every scene you wrestle with makes you stronger. Every brave little action, sending, sharing, submitting, is shaping you into the writer you're becoming. And yes, you'll make mistakes, so will I. But that's not failure, it's the process. You don't become a great writer by avoiding the work. You become one by doing the work, even when your voice shakes. So what can you do this week? Just one thing, one brave, imperfect step. Write 500 words, send the email, say out loud, I'm writing a book. And when the fear creeps in, remember, you don't have to be perfect. You just have to begin. Until next week, keep writing, keep dreaming, and remember, you don't have to do it alone.